There are a lot of videos talking about how great the launch was and how amazing GPT-5 must be, including our popular friend Theo, who a few comments said that he got paid to promote and saying everything that the AI did is insane.
I didn't know it could get this good. This was kind of the, oh fuck moment for me in a lot of ways. And I've had to fight like a slow spiral into insanity. It's a really, really good model.
Which is far from the truth, and the developers are not that stupid, so the community just assumed that he is overhyped. But the reality is that nobody, including the developers, are impressed. I know, Sam, that making presentations must be hard. What the fuck was that? It was a pretty cringy kind of presentation. It was very staged. It was almost like OpenAI team was trying to do the presentation as if GPT-5 had written the script for them. There are a lot of things that we can talk about. Even Sam Altman was looking off to the side as if he didn't know exactly where to look and who to talk to and things like that, which was weird, I think. I did have to have a bit of a laugh that Turkish Talam, if we look at a screenshot from where he was actually giving the presentation, you'll notice that he's got his Lego Adidas shoes on, and one of the guys woke up and decided to wear a Claude shirt to the GPT-5 launch day recording, which was very funny. In the presentation, all the tests they did with the models showed that everyone was reacting to the UI as if it were something crazy, when in reality the GPT-5 UI is nothing new or innovative. No one is surprised by this type of UI, and it's obvious that many of them are generated by AI. In fact, there are already a lot of open source projects on GitHub that make much better dashboards than the ones shown in the presentation. I hope this can change in the future and improve. Imagine if the UIs of the future were all generated by AI and looked similar to the demos. It would be a huge downgrade. Another thing to mention from the presentation is that they show the game they made, which is the most useless thing in the world since no one will use it for that purpose, and it's not impressive or insane, much less new, as they make it seem in the presentation. It's a very poor way to show the model's capabilities since the actual use is very different. They make it look as if the model had been revealed, had taken complete control of the operating system, and had opened Unreal Engine and created a game from scratch ready to launch on Steam. But as people on the internet have pointed out, they certainly didn't check a lot of the things that they put up. Here's a perfect example. One of the benchmarks that they showed was wrong. The GPT-4o has 30.8 points, and it is at the same level of OpenAI o3 with 69.1 points, which is very strange, and if that is not enough, they put GPT-5 score above 69.1, which is wrong. Some comments are laughing, saying if GPT-5 did those benchmarks, which is quite funny considering how NPC was the presentation. A lot of people on X are also doing tests, which we are gonna see a little later. Also, there was a very interesting tweet about how GPT-5 beats Claude Opus 4.1 in coding and becomes the best coding model in the world, pointing the 74.9% on SWE Bench, which is a coding benchmark, and it supposedly moves on to Claude Opus 4.1 with a score of 74.5%. But the reality is that it was disproved by Neubig, who is a professor at CMU, also one of the creators of All Hands, an agent-based coding framework that is actually completely open source, and that people can try out a very interesting framework. He points out that in reality, they did not evaluate 23 of the 500 instances. So, in reality, they decided that they would never get those 23, so they simply removed them from the test. Therefore, he points out that it is 71.4% here. And he links to the GPT-5 system sheet here, which shows the details that they did not bother to show on the main website, in the blog, or in their live presentation. It should be noted that in Cursor, where it says that you can select the fastest model, it is not actually faster because the model is quicker. It is faster because by paying more, you get priority. Therefore, it is faster, but you have to pay double. Returning to the price a little, most people will use non-reasoning because it takes years to do anything and it's annoying. So with a 400,000 context window, which is sufficient, which is a good thing, 128,000 max output tokens, which means that GP5 can devour that amount in a single response and is quite useful if you want to put a novel in it and rewrite it or modify it, etc. And for the price, if it gives you a total of 1 million output, will cost you around $10, which is very interesting. And we have Simon Wilson here that put out a really nice comparison guide, so you can see that GPT-5 is, the sort of system one, is coming in a lot cheaper than all the other models. We can see that this is a lot cheaper than a lot of the models that have been out there, much cheaper than Claude Opus, than even Sonnet, substantially cheaper than Sonnet, and then on par with the Gemini 2.5 Pro. As long as you are under 200,000 tokens in there, the Mini and the Nano are really impressive that the Mini is basically cheaper than Gemini 2.5 Flash, and the Nano is coming in just below the 2.5 Flash Lite. See you next time.